Hello there folks, thanks for joining us today. My name's Larry and I am an old age pensioner, and yes, this week is my birthday and I turned 68 years of age, so I guess the clock stops for none of us, does it? The reason for this video is that recently I made what to me was quite a radical decision to go carnivore. In other words, to adopt a carnivore diet and in turn a carnivore lifestyle. Now you might say, well, what's a carnivore? A carnivore is somebody who eats meat. You might say, well, I eat meat, but a carnivore is somebody who only eats meat. That makes it a whole lot more radical. Now, of course, there are variations of carnivore, and as there are with any particular diet, but a carnivore eats meat. Why would I make a decision like that to change my diet, my lifestyle, and only eat meat? Well, in this video I wanted to begin to share with you some of my journey, and today I just want to talk about some of the factors that led me to make this decision in the first place. It goes back, I guess, a couple of years now. Really, all my life I've had what I consider to be really good health. I've never really been sick enough to be in bed that I can remember. Maybe once or twice, if that, in my entire 68 years. And I've always had a pretty good run health-wise. But I had a bit of a wake-up call about 18 months ago when I went to my doctor for my annual checkup, as you do, or as you're meant to do. And as a result of that doctor's visit and some subsequent tests that the doctor did, I went back to see the doctor, and I was told at that visit that I have a fatty liver. Well, to be more precise, fatty liver disease. That I also have high blood pressure. I was told my blood pressure was something like 179/90. That's pretty high, even for an old guy like me. I was also told that I was insulin resistant, a term that I had never heard before, and that I was considered by the doctor to be pre-diabetic. Now, as I heard all of this, I was trying to take it all in, and then the doctor said to me, what we're going to do is we're going to get you started on some medication to get your blood pressure down to normal because it is way too high. And so I got my piece of paper that I took to the chemist, and I got my first lot of medication from the doctor. I hadn't been on any sort of medication for many years. But now I had a little bottle of pills to get my blood pressure down, so I dutifully started to take these pills faithfully every day, and I got myself a blood pressure monitor so that I could keep a watch on it. And as I took the pills and the weeks went by, I noticed that there was no change at all in my blood pressure. It remained on that very high number. So I did what you do. I went back to the doctor and I said, my blood pressure is not coming down. And my doctor said to me, well, what we'll do is we'll increase your dosage. And my dosage was increased, but that still didn't work. So I went back to the doctor a third time. And this time the doctor said to me, well, we're going to give you a second tablet to take along with the first tablet. Can you see a pattern here? You see, this is what happens when you go to the doctor. They listen to your story, they have a bit of a look at you, they write you a script and tell you to come back and see them down the track. They're very busy people, of course. And this was my lot. I was on two blood pressures, but my blood pressure was still not getting any lower. I was increasingly concerned about the situation. I guess I had what I would describe, I always had like a lottery view of health. In other words, you're eventually going to get something, and so you may as well just cop it on the chin. All people around your age will eventually get something, and it's you have no say in it, and you just cop it sweet. It's kind of like what I would call, thinking about it, I would call it a Doris Day view of health, if you remember that old song. Que sera, sera, whatever will be, the future's not ours to see. That was my view of health. And yet here was the doctor telling me that I had all of these issues all of a sudden that I'd never heard of and that I was never aware of before. I had some nagging questions that were, as I thought about this, these questions came to the surface, and I thought, the question that was bothering me most was why? Why have I got high blood pressure? Why have I got fatty liver disease? Why am I insulin resistant or pre-diabetic? What's caused that? And is there anything I can do to address that in the way that I live and the way that I eat? And so I got very interested in these subjects. And so I did what many people do. I went to Dr. YouTube, and I began to watch YouTube videos, and I was searching for anything I could find on the subject of blood pressure, insulin resistance, or fatty liver disease. And of course, if you search any of those, you'll be inundated with many choices of videos to watch. Now, YouTube, I think, is a wonderful resource. It gives us access to information at the click of a mouse button that a few years back we had no access to at all. And there's wonderful information on there, and there's experts in all sorts of areas that share information there. But as you will know, there's also a lot of rubbish on YouTube. There's a lot of people who call themselves influencers or whatever the term is, and they can get pretty weird, some of them, in what they share. So how do you decide what to watch? I mean, you're watching me now, so that's a good start. How do you decide what to watch? I guess for me, like many of you, you probably have your own little grid, but I want to know, first of all, the person I'm listening to, what gives them any qualification to speak? Do they have formal qualifications? Have they got life experience? Have they been through this situation in their own lives, or is it theory and head knowledge? I also want to know just how they come across. You know, some people come across as really weird. Other people come across as very genuine. That's a very subjective measure, I guess. But another thing I look for, and this one always turns me off, are they selling something? I've been caught, like many of you, where I've clicked on something and you eventually find out that what they're selling is a secret formula that they have developed, that only they have, and you can order them online, and they're selling something. Now, I'm not saying everyone who's selling something is a scoundrel, but it kind of put me off if somebody was selling something. So I went to look at YouTube, and I listened to many videos, and I read. I also started reading books. I think in the last 3 months I read about 15 books, all on the subject of metabolic health, of heart disease, diabetes, insulin resistance, diet, all of those sorts of books. And I found it quite fascinating. I had never studied any science when I went to school. I was really a high school dropout, and so the science can very quickly get over my head, but still I found it very fascinating reading about health and about the issues that I was concerned about. And one of the things I noticed is that as I listened to YouTube and as I read more and more books, the one message that seemed to come across, perhaps louder and stronger than any other message, was that with issues like high blood pressure and insulin resistance, all of the issues that I was facing, that they can be reversed by exercise and lifestyle. They can be reversed. Even diabetes too can be reversed by exercise and lifestyle. And that got me even more interested because I guess like many people, I knew that I was overweight. Well, I was never what I would call morbidly obese, but I think in my estimation, I was always, for most of my adult life, I've been what I would consider to be about 15 kilos overweight. And every now and then, like most of us, I would try a diet to lose weight. I think in the earlier days, the very first diet I remember trying was one called the Scarsdale diet. And then it wasn't long until I got onto another diet, another early one called the Dukan diet. Then, of course, there was the keto diet that became very popular, and I tried that. Then paleo became the thing, and I tried the paleo diet. And, in all of these diets, I found one thing. I found that they all worked. You did lose weight on these diets, and it made me think, well, most of these diets will work if you stick to them. The big problem was, however, that although I would lose weight on every diet that I tried over the years, the weight would always come back. Been reading a couple of books that I'll mention that I did read, particularly about diet, was one by Richard Johnson called The Fat Switch, and another by Jason Fung called The Obesity Code. And I found these two books very fascinating. And in both these books, the authors were suggesting that our body has an internal switch, an internal meter, if you like, that operates kind of like a thermostat that regulates our weight. And this is why we can take weight off, but our body will press that switch again and we'll be back to where we were, sometimes even worse than before. Now that made a lot of sense because that was certainly my experience. So anyway, I was reading books, listening to videos, trying to learn all I could, and of course it wasn't long before I came across what was called the carnivore diet. Now, when I first saw this, I have to tell you, I just had this big reaction within me. I thought, that is so extreme. I just thought you could not possibly do that. You could not sustain it for any length of time. How could you eat only meat? But I continued to do some research, and then I started to listen to people's stories. I came across a YouTube channel called Zero Carb Life by Dave Mack, where all he does is interview people, and very ordinary people, and let them tell their stories about their experience on carnivore. And I got to tell you that stories are very impacting. I can tell you my opinion about something, and of course you can disagree and argue with me, but when I tell you my story, you can't argue with someone's story, and people's stories I find fascinating. So I listened to stories about people who had tried carnivore and had what to me was sounded like amazing results in their life as a result of this carnivore diet. I was very impacted by people on YouTube, also people like Jordan Peterson, who is well known on YouTube, a psychologist, and he shared his own experience on carnivore that was very impacting. And then, of course, his daughter Michaela had what can only be termed as a miraculous result of trying the carnivore diet. And so I thought, well, it does sound a bit extreme, but so many people are saying they're getting good results. And if nothing else, this diet does cut out sugar, it does cut out processed food, and it does cut out carbs. Now, I knew enough to know that they are the three biggies when it comes to diet. I've always been convinced that's why so many diets do work, because what they have in common is that they cut out the sugar, the processed food, the carbs, and that's why they are successful. And Carnivore certainly did that, so I thought I'm going to give this a try, and I thought, well, what if I tried this for 3 months and called it an experiment? That way, if it all goes wrong, if the wheels totally fall off my wagon, then I have a sort of an out, because I've called it an experiment. And see, an experiment can succeed or an experiment can fail. So that is what I did. Now it's now 3 months later, and I've been following the carnivore diet and lifestyle for 3 months. And I'd have to say that this 3 months has been an incredible journey. It has just exceeded all my hopes and dreams for what it might achieve in my life and the impact it would have on my life. And the results that I've seen in my own life have been, for me, what I consider to be quite considerable. So I wanted to share this journey with you over the coming days, and in this video I've just wanted to share with you why I got started and what's prompted me to start this lifestyle. And I'm going to come back in very shortly with a second video where I'm going to talk about how I actually got started, and then of course some of the speed bumps, the obstacles that you will surely run into when you start this diet. But that's all for today. I just wanted to leave you with a quote from a book that I read that was very impacting for me. It was a book by a heart surgeon called Dr. Philip Ovadia, and he wrote a delightful book called Stay Off My Operating Table. And in the introduction to his book, he shared one piece of advice that for me was a wake-up moment. It was one of those aha moments. And he said this, it's just a simple phrase. He said, what you've got to realize is that the person responsible for your health is you. It's not your doctor's responsibility. It's not a responsibility that you can abdicate to anybody else in life. You have got to take responsibility for yourself. You have got to become, in effect, your own doctor. I was stunned that a doctor was writing these words, but as I thought about that principle, I thought it's true for every part of life, isn't it? You cannot sit around playing the victim long term, because that road goes nowhere. It goes downhill fast. With everything in life, you've got to come to that point where you say, this is my responsibility. I'm going to take responsibility for it, and I'm going to do something about it. Now that's where I started. I wanted to do something about it, and I started the carnivore diet. So anyway, I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching through to the end if you've got this far, and I encourage you to keep listening, to like and subscribe, as we are a new channel and just trying to get started here. So appreciate your support, and love hearing from any of you about your journey. Make a comment below, but keep in touch, and let's build a community together as we explore this wonderful world of the carnivore lifestyle. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.